In this video, we're going to look at the cell referencing. In particular, we're going to look at the difference between absolute referencing and relative referencing in Excel. And we're going to look at how to use the cell referencing in our spreadsheet. This is Tech Skills channel. We are going to look at cell referencing in Excel. Cell referencing in Excel has different types. When we are talking about a cell reference, the address of a cell, whether it's saying A1, B2, or a range of cells from A1 to D13, that's what we call a cell reference. The two types of cell referencing in Excel are absolute and relative cell referencing. The use of each type of cell referencing does have an impact and effect on the calculation and the result of the function that we are going to use or the formula that you are going to write about. By default, if you have a formula that contains a cell reference, in this case usual cell reference such as D9 or A1 or A5, and then you copy that formula or function into another cell, Excel will update the cell reference, will adjust the cell reference. However, in some cases you don't want the addresses to change. You want the address of a particular cells to remain fixed. In this case, you want to force Excel to keep pointing to the same cell address, and that's what we call absolute referencing. In this case, the absolute referencing looks like the $sign, the column letter, a $sign, and the row number. In this case, I'm saying the cell address, which is D9, should be an absolute referencing. That means wherever I copy this formula or function, Excel will keep pointing to this cell address. This is the difference between the relative cell referencing and the absolute cell referencing. Relative, Excel will automatically update the cells when we move it, when we copy it. And the absolute, Excel will keep pointing to the same cell address. This is the difference between the two cell referencing. We're going to demonstrate now the difference between the relative referencing and the absolute referencing when they are used in the spreadsheet. And we're going to provide why we need to use sometimes one type of referencing instead of the other. Let's assume I have the following spreadsheet that includes the product sales that I have or my inventory, and I have my total sales, and I want to calculate the VAT amount per product category that I have. This is my total sales, and at the moment my VAT is standing at 15%. In order to calculate the VAT amount, it's basically the total sales multiplied by the VAT amount. This is how we write it down. Usually say equal my total sales multiplied by the address of the VAT amount. I'm gonna press, I get the VAT amount. When I drag it, I start to get this value error. Value error means something wrong within my function. If I double click on it, you'll see that Excel automatically changed the addresses of the cell when I have dragged. As you know, whenever you're talking about relative referencing, Excel will automatically change the cell address when we copy or drag down, left, right, or upwards. So now it's not pointing anymore to the VAT amount. It started changing downwards. I want to force Excel to keep pointing to the same cell address, which is the VAT, and rather than instead of updating it. So in this case, to keep my calculation correct. Even if you look over here on this one, the calculation is wrong. It's not pointing anymore to VAT percentage, it's pointing to the average sales. So how can I correct this? How can I make sure that my calculations always pointing to the VAT percentage this is where I need to use the absolute referencing. So we're gonna delete this. Again, we're gonna say equal, this is my total sale, multiplied by absolute referencing. Remember, we're gonna type it by hand. There is another shortcut that I'm gonna show you later on about it. $sign K $sign 1. As you see, now it's pointing to K, which is the VAT. Remember, the $sign before the row, the $sign before the column number, to inform Excel keep pointing to the same cell address no matter what. We're going to press enter, and now we're going to drag it. This is now the calculation is correct. If I double click on this one, as you see, it keeps pointing to the same cell address. Double click on this one, I'm still pointing to the same VAT cell address. This is why we need to use the absolute referencing. Now I can change the VAT to 20%. Automatically Excel will update because I'm using the right cell addresses within my calculation. So let's put it back to 15%, and this is the calculation for the VAT percentage. This is the difference between relative and absolute referencing and the impact of each cell referencing on our calculation. This is Tech Skills channel.